tell you, I got worried when I first saw this episode title. The is really important, because I thought it was just naked time, which would have been an entirely different episode. This one has TOS's worst soundtrack, because most of it is provided by Lieutenant Riley, who gets the alien virus, takes over the ship, and sings this over the speakers all episode. I'll take you home, Kathleen! People start covering their ears, pushing a bunch of buttons, hoping to shut him up, and Kirk even yells at Uhura a long time before he gets the virus. Never mind that the ship is spinning out of control, our number one priority is to get this idiot to stop auditioning for American Idol! At the beginning, they go to this planet called Psi-2000, where everyone's died from this weird disease. Spock goes down with this expendable guy named Joe, and of course, he's not down there for 2 minutes before he catches the disease himself. It's bad enough that these environmental suits have these completely open headpieces, so that if the disease was airborne, they'd have it as soon as they beamed in. But Joe takes off his glove, scratches his face, and doesn't put his glove back on until he's reached around the table and touched everything he can with it. Seriously, you give this guy an itch, and he'll take a mile. They beam back up and get decontaminated in the transporter room, proving just how far along we've come since Enterprise. Unfortunately, it doesn't help, and he still has the disease. Joe loses all his inhibitions and starts talking about how they have no business being in space, freaks out, goes to sickbay, and dies. But not before he passes the disease off to some other folks. By the end, nearly everybody on the ship ends up getting it, which lets us learn some stuff about some of these characters. We find out for the first time that Chapel is in love with Spock, which will be a running arc throughout the series. We learn that Sulu likes sword fighting even more than he likes botany, although the way he swings his sword around looks more like a little kid playing in the backyard than a fencing expert. And sadly, that's the coolest thing he ever gets to do in the whole series. And we find out that Riley is obsessed with being Irish, has a terrible singing voice, thinks Captain should give away more ice cream, throw more dances, and make up regulations about female hairstyles. We also find out that the control panel Scotty's trying to open so he can get into engineering is shaped like Texas. The best scene is Spock losing control in his quarters just after he talks to Chapel. It plays for 3 or 4 full minutes without cutting, and it tells you everything you need to know about how hard it is to be Spock. There aren't nearly enough precautions taken once they find out the disease is on board. When he comes up with the antidote, McCoy figures out it's passed person to person, but if you watch Who Gets It When, that should be obvious. Those people should all be quarantined, but instead, they just get sent to sickbay so they can pass it on to the medical staff. It is a wonder that McCoy never gets it. And there are several times when Kirk or someone else grabs somebody who has the disease and tries to shake them out of it. How are they not worried that they might get it too? Quick production lesson, this was originally supposed to be a 2-parter, which is why the ship going 3 days backwards in time at the end seems to come out of nowhere. The second part was supposed to be all about that. Even though he could, it's lucky that Kirk doesn't go back in time to fix everything in every episode after this. An interesting note, apparently the Enterprise has a bowling alley, just like in the White House. We never get to see it, but it's in some blueprints from the 70s. I give this episode 2.5 bananas. Spock wouldn't be who he is without this episode, but I give it a lower rating because Kirk doesn't do enough to stop the spread of the disease, and because of that stupid song. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
Don't pour your love.